जय गोपीजन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदानंदन जय ब्रजजन जय यशोदानंदन जय ब्रजजन जय यमुना तीरवन चारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय यमुना तीरवन चारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदानंदन जय ब्रजजन रंजन जय यमुना तीर वनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधा माधव श्री राधे जय गौर निताय जय गौर निताय पतित पावन गौर निताय जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा मैया जय सुदर्शन जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जगत गुरु शीला प्रभुपदा। Hare Krishna. Let's begin with prayers. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतात्पदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं त्वं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगना ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमों विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णा प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतिसे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्रा सुभद्राभ्याम जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय Govindaya Namo Namaha. So Hare Krishna. So today we are going to discuss from. So I am somehow unable to share my. I'll try sharing the screen. Let's see if I am able to do it. Okay. So I'll just. So I'm just telling the verse number. I'm reading from Canto number 4, chapter number 3, verse number 18. So devotees can open in their device. Chapter Canto 4, chapter 3, verse 18. नयता तृष्णां स्वजना व्यप व्यपेक्षया गृहान् प्रतीयाद् अनवस्थिता मनाम् येभ्यागतान् वक्रधियाभिचक्षते आरोपिता ब्रूभिरमरः शङ्काक्षिभिः नीतादृशानां स्वजनाव्यपेक्षया गृहान् प्रतीयात् अनवस्थितामनां येभ्यागतान् वक्रधियाभिचक्षते आरोपिता ब्रूभिरमरशङ्काक्षिभिः not etadrishanam like this swajana kinsmen vyapekshaya depending on that grihan in the house of pratiyata one should go anavasthita disturbed atmanam mind ye those abhyagatan guests vakradhiya with a cold reception Abhichakshate looking at Aropita Bhrubhi with raised eyebrows. Amarsana angry Akshibhi with the eyes. Translation. One should not go to anyone's house even on the consideration of his being a relative or a friend. When the man is disturbed in his mind and looks upon the guest with raised eyebrows and angry eyes. Purport. However low a person may be, he is never unkind to his children, wife, and nearest kin. Even a tiger is kind to its cub, for within the animal kingdom, the cubs are treated very nicely. Since Sati was the daughter of Daksha, however cruel and contaminated he might be, naturally it was expected that he would receive her very nicely. But here it is indicated by the word anavasthita that such a person cannot be trusted. Tigers are very kind to their cubs, but it is also known that sometimes they eat them. Malicious persons should not be trusted because they are always unsteady. Thus, Sati was advised not to go to her father's house because to accept such a father as a relative and go to his house without being properly invited was not suitable. We'll also go through the text 19 and 20. तथारिभिर्न व्यथते सिलीमुखै सेते अर अर्दितांगो हृदयेन द्यूयता स्वानां यथा वक्रधियां दुरुक्तिभिर् दीवानिशं तप्यति मर्मतादिता. What word meaning? Tatha, so. Aribhi, enemy. Na, not. Vyathate is hurt. Shili Mukhay by the arrows, Sete rests, Ardita aggrieved, Anga apart, Hridayena by the heart, Duyata grieving, Swanam of relatives, Yatha as, Vakradhyam deceitful, Duruktibhi by harsh words, Divanisham day and night, Tapyati suffers, Marmatadita one whose feelings are hurt. Translation. Lord Shiva continued, if one is hurt by the arrows of an enemy, one is not as aggrieved as when cut by the unkind words of a relative, for such grief continues to rend one's heart day and night. But Sati might have concluded that she would take the risk of going to her father's house, and even if her father spoke unkind against her, she would be tolerant as a son sometimes tolerates the reproaches of his parents. But Lord Shiva reminded her that she would not be able to tolerate such unkind words because natural psychology dictates that although one can suffer harm from an enemy and not mind so much because pain inflicted by an enemy is natural. But when one is hurt by the strong words of a relative, one suffers the effect continually, day and night. And sometimes the injury becomes so intolerable that one commits suicide. Vyaktam tvam उत्कृष्टगते प्रजापते प्रियात्मजानाम् असि सुब्रुमे मता तथापि मानं न पितु प्रपत्यसे मद आश्रयात् कः परितप्यते यथा. What word meaning? Vyaktam, it is clear. Tvam, you. Utkrishta having the best behavior. Prajapati or Prajapati Daksha. Priya, the pet. Atma Janam of the daughters. Asi, you are. Subru, oh, you with beautiful eyebrows. May, my. Mata, considered. Tatha api, yet. Manam, honor. Na, not. Pitu, from your father. Prapatsyase, you will meet with. Mat ashrayat, from connection with me. Kah, Daksha. Paritapyate is feeling pain. Yatha, from whom? Translation. My dear, white complexed wife, it is clear that of the many daughters of Daksha, you are the pet. Yet you will not be honored at his house because of your being my wife. Rather, you will be sorry that you are connected with me. But Lord Shiva put forward the argument that even if Sati proposed to go alone without her husband, still she would not be received well because she was his wife. There was every chance of a catastrophe, even if she wanted to go alone. Therefore, Lord Shiva indirectly requested her not to go to her father's house. Hare Krishna. So, so today the verse has opened at a very famous and very celebrated episode, which everybody knows, but the lesson is very deep. The episode is that how Daksha has invited practically every important person in the universe, all the important demigods, their wives, to to his function. And Sati, who is the very dear daughter of Daksha, herself is seeing that everybody is going, everybody is ready to go. She also developed a desire, as a natural. It's very natural that a daughter is doesn't need any invitation as such to go to her own father's function. But the catastrophe is that here, because Sati is attached, is married to Lord Shiva, whom Daksha doesn't like, because Daksha's narrow-mindedness is unable to accept the broad-minded Lord Shiva, as it is very rightly said that Vaishnavera Kriya Mudra Vigya na bujhaye, that even the most intelligent person may not be able to ascertain the activities of a great personality, and especially the Vaishnavas. Yes, it's very difficult. And thus, uh, Daksha, he had the opposite polarity with Lord Shiva, and thus Sati, was just making that consideration whether to go or not. And in these few verses, how Lord Shiva, using very, very philosophical insight, is trying to persuade Sati that it is not favorable for her to go there, because the treatment will not be nice, and it will hurt the soft heart of Mother Sati. Yes. So we see this world is full of duality. Srila Prabhupada says that nothing in this world comes for free. Yes. Everything is accompanied by its opposite counterpart. If there is a joy, then there is sadness. If there is a if there is a good health, it is it is counteracted by disease. If there is respect, then there is a disrespect. There are sweet dealings, and there is a harsh relationship. So this material world is being heated constantly, tormented by the dualities of the material world. And our acharyas explain that how the more we feel happy you know, the more we feel infatuated when there are good times, the more we are attached, yes, when there are good times, when we have a good health, etc., the more we suffer when the opposite things happen. So the more we are attached, so our attachment is being reflected by the twofold process. So how to know that if somebody is attached? So so there are two symptoms. When the up time is there, yes, the person is uh, overestimatedly excited, is infatuated. Yes. And when there's a downtime, the person is too much distressed. The person is totally heartbroken. He goes into inferiority complex, etc. Yes. So, so the example is given of the ocean waves. If you put a cork in an ocean wave, as soon as the waves go up, the cork will also go up. Yes, go very high. When the waves go down, the cork will also go down. Yes, such is the condition of an attached person, and that's why mm, here a beautiful principle is told by Lord Shiva that the words of other general people, we go to our office, we go to, we walk on the road, and if somebody insult us, okay, it will hurt us. But the same words, the same insult, if it comes from the mouth of somebody very near and dear to us, it is even more hurting. It is even more devastating. The reason is that because we are attached to them. So the more we are attached to somebody in good times, the more potential they are to give us the suffering in bad times. A very graphic example is given of like a person living on the first floor, a person living on the 10th floor. If a person living on the first floor, if he by mistake falls down from the rooftop, so by it will at the maximum he will just break his hands and legs. But a person who is falling from the 10th floor, yes, he has a more higher one goes, the more pain he will suffer when he is released from that place, when he again comes back to the sufferings of this material world, the more pain it gives. Yes. And that's why Lord Shiva is saying, the more you are attached, the more pain, the more suffering it will give when the opposite thing happen. And that's why Krishna also explains it in Bhagavad Gita. Dhyayato vishayan pupsha sankas tesu vijayate, sangat sanjayate kama, kama krodha vijayate. That first of all, by our different interactions, with our relatives, friends, we become attached to them. Yes. Dhyayato vishayan pupsha sangas. That sangha leads to kama. It's a huge desire to enjoy with each other. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. Yes. And then when that doesn't go well, yes, when some problem comes, kama krodho vijayate. The more we are attached to that enjoyment with that person, yes, the more suffering it gives. Krodh, it will turn into the krodh, the unsatisfied desires. They lead to a heavy anger, yes, to a person. The person is fully devastated. And Srila Prabhupada explains that how the Sheet and Ushna of this world, they are at the bodily platform. They torment us. But the more painful than that is the duality of happiness and distress, because they are at the mental platform. They are even more painful. Sometimes we may get little accident. By 2 months rest, it will go away. But sometimes the bad times, family is undergoing some difficult times. It is very difficult to tolerate it. And the higher than that is the man and apman, which is at the egoistic platform. That is the most difficult to tolerate, which is most devastating. The duality of man and apman, because they are at the higher level of egoistic platform. Yes. And that's why we see that we see many practical examples when our own son, sometimes parents, they raise their son with, when a when a child is born. Yes, it's the greatest joy of any husband and wife, of any couple in this world. They're so excited. It's a festival of joy in the house. And the child becomes the apple of eye of everybody, is the center of everyone's attention. But when the same child grows up and he doesn't turn out to be what we expected him to be, then it's very devastating. Yes, one of the most painful experience of any parents is when they in front of their eyes they see their child deviating, they see their child choosing a wrong path, or they see their child not coming to the mark of what they wanted the child to be. It is very, very painful. Yes. So why? And we find that there are many other people, who may be close to us, who may be choosing a wrong path, who may be going against our so-called template, but we may not be that much affected. But our own son, whom we have invested so much, when he is going in the opposite direction, it really pinches a lot because there is a lot of attachment, there is a lot of affection. The same principle Lord Shiva is telling to Sati. Because Sati, you are very attached to your father. The father-daughter relationship is very, very deep. It's a it's a very, very delicate relationship. So so there is a more potential that you will be hurt. And that's why we see that how even in the husband-wife relationship, yes, we see nowadays today many, many divorces happening. People they love each other like anything. Yes. So there's a very famous saying in the outside world: love at the first sight and a divorce at the first fight. Yes. How can these two things can be accommodated together? A person loving each other so much, they cannot live without each other for a moment. Uh, they are talking with each other on the phone for nearly 5 hours, 6 hours every day. They are singing beautiful uh, phrases, in appreciation of each other. They see a lot of dreams of living with each other. And one little fight just separates them. They make enemy of each other. They just stand in the court. The wife is trying to put all the cases on the husband. The husband is trying to somehow protect himself and all these things happening. Yes. So how? Because the same thing. Because when at the materialistic platform, when we are in the mode of duality, yes, the more happiness a person gives, yes, the more potential that person is to give us suffering also. The more potential that person has, you know, we are succumbed to the suffering. And that's why Bhagavatam gives many beautiful pastimes. Bhagavatam gives many beautiful narrations to showcase these things. For example, there's a very famous pastime of Avanti Brahman. How Avanti Brahman, one of the Avanti Brahman was a very materialistic person, so much attached to money, so much miser. Yes, for him the money was everything. Yes. And one of the reason that how such a person became devotee, because he suffered that kick of duality from the material nature. The same relatives who used to surround him, who used to externally respect him at least because of his wealth, etc. And the same Avanti Brahman became bankrupt. Yes. Just the relatives, they somehow stole away their money. They started kicking him out. They were not, even the least respecting him. They were thinking, what is the use of this person? He was earning a lot of money earlier. We had some hope that he will give us some enjoyment, and that's why we were with him. But this miser fellow, he couldn't give any enjoyment when he had money, and now he doesn't have a money. Hell with him. That was a great tormentation for Avanti Brahman. Yes, he's not able to tolerate that. How come, my own people, they are rejecting me in such a bad way? They're treating me in such a ill way. And thus, he came to a very beautiful conclusion. Avanti Brahman conclusions are so deep that even while taking sannyas in our Iskcon, today, when the aspiring sannyasis, they sing the slokas sung by Avanti Brahman. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he took sannyas, he sung the prayers of Avanti Brahman. Avanti Brahman came to a conclusion that actually they are not at mistake. It is me who is at mistake. It is the person who is responsible for my suffering now is not this my relatives, my family members. It is me. It is my mind. Why? Because I got attached to them. It is my mistake. It is my mind, who got overly attached to them in the mood, in the mood of enjoyment. And now the same mind is retracting back in a different mode, in another Another part of the duality. The same mind makes one attached, the same mind then makes one devastated. It is my mind only that I got attached to them. And thus, he took complete shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He came to know that the only the real well-wisher, the real object of being attached is Supreme Personality of Godhead. If I have to get attached to somebody, yes, let it be Supreme Personality of Godhead, because He is eternal, He is unchangeable. So He's the best person to be attached to. The same, the same kind of thing happened with Vidura. Vidurji was serving. He was very loyal, very faithful, a great well-wisher of Dhritarashtra and well-wisher of entire Kuru dynasty. But this Vidurji, but because Duryodhan, he was uh, thinking Vidurji as an obstacle in this plan to conquer over the Pandavas. So Duryodhan spoke at one time. The Duryodhan reached to his boiling point. Duryodhan's mind became overheated with his ego, and he ended up in speaking of very harsh words to Vidurji. Very, very harsh words, insulting him, calling him as a Dasi Putra, calling him as a betrayer, person who eats the salt of one, one person and takes the side of another person. Like, these are very, very strong words to such a respected person like Vidura. And Vidurji was looking, and Vidurji was even more surprised than because Duryodhan is speaking these things in front of Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra loved Vidura like anything, and Vidurji also loved Dhritarashtra a lot. Vidurji was actually the well-wisher of Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra knew it, but Dhritarashtra also didn't speak anything. And Bhagavatam explains that those words by Duryodhan and Dhritarashtra don't responding anything. They were like a sharp arrow in the heart of Vidurji. And here also, like Lord Shiva is also giving the same example of arrow. Yes, because arrow, if it hits a person's body, it will create some wound for some time. But the arrow in the heart, those sharp words in the heart, they create practically the wound for the entire lifetime. Yes, sometimes it doesn't heal. It goes with a person even after his death in the form of the revengeful attitude. So, so that's why he is comparing it to the that they're even more powerful than the arrow. And same thing Vidurji felt. Yes. And Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that it was all the enactment of the external energy of the Lord. But Vidurji, being none other than the Mahajan, Yamraj, Vidurji being none other than that great devotee of the Lord, he immediately took shelter of the internal energy. Yes, because this situation is very difficult to tolerate, especially for a person who is one of the kinsman, one of the important person in the royal kingdom. For such a person, so difficult. His own brother is also not protecting him. The person that Duryodhan, who is meant to be like a son of Vidurji, the same that junior fellow is disrespecting him, such a senior person. Yes. But Vidurji took deep shelter of the Lord. He immediately detached himself from that identity. Yes. He came that okay, I have relationship with Duryodhan, I have relationship with Rashtra, but these are temporary relationship. I have an eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. And he took shelter of that permanent relationship, which overpowered the distress which caused by this temporary relationship. Vidurji transformed that misfortune into good fortune. He just went to, he thought that this is great opportunity to be detached from all this politics and worldly affairs. Let me just go and surrender myself to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus Vidurji fully alive and the same Vidurji, yes, he visited different holy places. He took bath in different kund, was fully purified. Yes, his entire uh, this temporary identification was fully dissolved. And same Vidurji being surcharged with spiritual potency, with spiritual energy. When he came back to Hastinapur, back again, the same Vidurji, he wanted to now shake up Dhritarashtra, who was attached to his, to all this, temporary relationship. So, so there's a beautiful episode in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam where Vidurji is practically shaking up Dhritarashtra. Hey Dhritarashtra, the same people whom you wanted to kill, the same Bhima who has killed your Duryodhan, he just throwing away the chapati and you are eating just like a dog. He just shook with very strong words. Dhritarashtra, you are so blind. You are not only blind by gross body, you are even so blind internally. How much you have so much of, it's so surprising that you still have that hope of being happy in the material world. And he shook him up, reminded him of that eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. And Dhritarashtra, uh, Vidurji very powerfully said, why you are living such shameless life? This life of dependence on others. You know, what others will say, what others think about me. Leave all this dependence. This is very cheap life. This is very third class life. Yes. Sometimes like even I see in my own life. Sometimes like um, when uh, when the material energy take over our consciousness, sometimes we become very mean-minded. Sometimes we are depending on what other people think about me. Oh, I have to maintain the status quo. Oh, he said this to me. Oh no, I have to do all. Makes us very cheap-minded. It makes us very mean-minded. We're always on a look. Who will respect me? Who will give me pleasure? Oh, this person did like this, that, like that. Our life's value becomes very low. We are depending on some other materialistic people and their materialistic mind for our own happiness. Vidurji shook him up. He get up from this deep dark well and just go to take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So thus Vidurji was able to conquer that. So this is the way to conquer that, how this when our mind takes us into that cheap-mindedness of depending on others for our own happiness. This is how Vidurji conquered over that sharp arrow of insulting words from Duryodhan, and he did the same to, he infected that same fire of Vairagya in Dhritarashtra also. We see the beautiful Leela of Narsim Dev, Prahlad Maharaj. In that also, like one of the most painful thing for Hiranyakashipu was that his own son, actually, if Hiranyakashipu would have been tormented by some outside person, let's say somebody, some Tom, Dick, Harry in his kingdom, he is not obeying Hiranyakashipu. Yes, he would have been pained for sure. But the most painful thing for Hiranyakashipu is that my own son is becoming the Vishnu Bhakta. The whole world, including the Devatas, including Indra, they are respecting me. They are chanting my names. My own son. That was very, very difficult for Hiranyakashipu to digest. And he wanted to kill his own son. Can we imagine somebody wanting to kill his own son? And that's what Srila Prabhupada is writing in the purport that sometime this tiger, tiger has a very generally animals or human being. Everybody is very affectionate to their own relatives, their own kins, neat and kins. Srila Prabhupada is saying, but this tiger, he's such a passionate animal. Sometimes when he's hungry, there have been some cases where the animal has consumed their own child. Similarly, the Lord Shiva is reminding Sati, your father is a materialistic person having an unsteady mind. Yes, he may even forget that you are his loving daughter. He may be overpowered by his own selfish desire. His own selfish desire may overpower the affectionate relationship that he has with you. And he may start insulting you and me. And you will not be able to tolerate it. The same thing happened with Hiranyakashipu. A father, and so many people are respecting him. Just one person is not respecting. He could have just let it go. Let have, you know, perhaps lakhs and crores of people respecting me. One person, okay, let it. After all, he's my son. Let him have his little free will. No, yes, he got so overpowered by his ego that he wanted to kill his own son. And this proves that in this material world, the family relationship, etc., these are just to support our own sense gratification. There is no real love. Yes, all we keep our relatives near and dear ones with us because they scratch our back, and in return we scratch their back. Actually, there is no love. If there is actual love, how can we can have such cases like Hiranyakashipu who want to kill his own son because his son has not fulfilling his own selfish desire. So actually, the living entity has come here to become the self-made person. He want to become the master. He want to become the controller. And all this relationship, family, these are just the means to acquire his own selfish ambitions. This is how Srila Prabhupada is exposing the so-called love, affection of this material world. They are just to assist our own lusty desire. And till the time they do it, yes, they are very nice. We will eat food together, we will roam together. As soon as a person goes against our own desire, then we show our real color. We expose that so-called relationship. Same thing happened with Hiranyakashipu. He wanted to kill his own son. Yes. And thus, but the beautiful thing about Prahlad Maharaj on the opposite side, how much pain. Let's imagine that our own father want to kill us. How painful that situation will be. Yes. That the same father who loved me a lot, yes, the same father who fed me since the child and since my birth, he only want to kill me. But Prahlad Maharaj, he didn't develop that enmity. He actually saw his father in line with his eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. Yes, he still respected his father, and that's why he never became angry with his father. He was again and again trying to preach him. And when Narsimdev killed Hiranyakashipu, Prahlad Maharaj only prayer was, he didn't ask anything for himself, but he was worried about his father. He said that, my dear father, I just want that, you know, may you liberate my father. Please forgive him for his mistakes. So this is what Prahlad Maharaj asked. So we see here that father and son relationship, how Hiranyakashipu was badly affected because of Prahlad Maharaj not cooperating with his selfish desire, while Prahlad Maharaj remaining unaffected because of his attachment to the eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. The same example comes of Kamsa. Yes, Kamsa, he loved actually Devaki a lot. It is said that when Devaki's marriage was there, Kamsa was a prince, the son of a Chakravarti Samrat. But and during the marriage of Devaki and Vasudev, Kamsa told that chariot driver, you get down. Today's my sister's marriage. It's my privilege. I will drive the chariot of my sister and Vasudev. So jubilantly he participated in the marriage of Devaki. But as soon as he came to know that this Devaki, his eighth son, is going to be my Kal, is going to destroy me, immediately, oh, where does that love went away? Where was that affection? Everything just watered down, again exposing the nature of this material world. That in this world, the relationship is just to fulfill our own selfish desire. Till the time Devaki was harmless, he was very happy with Devaki participating in his marriage. As soon as he came to know that it and a wonderful thing was, it was not Devaki who was going to be his Kala, it was Devaki's son. But because that son will be born from Devaki, that's why Devaki also became an enemy of Kamsa. You know? So again exposing the nature of so-called relationship, family uh, relationship of this world. Yes. Kamsa wanted to kill practically Devaki. And then we know the further pastime that how Vasudeva protected Devaki. And then when the eighth son was a girl child, and the when Kamsa when he wanted to kill, he just flew away. Then Kamsa came to know, oh my God, I made a big mistake by punishing my this Devaki and all those things. He again begged forgiveness. Devaki, please forgive me. And then all those things. In the and in the purport, Srila Prabhupada right. It's such an unsteady that Kamsa represent that unsteady mind. He cannot be trusted. Though he's begging forgiveness from Devaki, but again, when he will become inimical to Devaki, nobody knows. You know? Because currently he's feeling that, oh, Devaki was actually harmless. But again, he feels any threat to his own selfish desire, again he will attack Dev. And same thing happened when Kamsa came to know that he was actually cheated. He again imprisoned Vasudeva and Devaki. Yes. So we see this is the nature of this uh, world. That our own people, whom we trust a lot, sometimes they are the most potential devastator. Their words are the most potential pain giver in this world. And to the extent we are attached, to that extent, the pain is even more severe. And that's why Srila Prabhupada says how to deal with the family relationship. And this is a beautiful example here. Lord Shiva is speaking to Sati, but Lord Shiva himself is so detached. That beautiful episode where um, Lord Shiva was so much spoken bad by Daksha, but Lord Shiva was not so much affected. Though Lord Shiva's associates became very affected and they started cursing Daksha and all those things. Yes. So, and that's why Lord Shiva is known as Dhira, was not affected. And that's why Srila Prabhupada says that how to deal with our family members. And Srila Prabhupada says we can only, that we should, the family members, actually they we come together by the force of time, just like the two straws. Sometimes two straws are flowing in the river. In the due course, by some mixing of streams, the two straws they come together and again they separate. Srila Prabhupada says that we should always remember that each one of us are flying our own plane. Though we have come together, but each one of us are individual soul who are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And each one of us have our own baggage of karma. And and uh, and because of that, somehow that combination of karma of two living entity, they bring them together to share some joy and to share some sorrow. Yes? But we should always remember our own identity as Jivera Swarup Hoy Krishna Nityadas, and the identity of our own people as Jivera Swarup Hoy Krishna Nityadas. Each one of us have our own baggages, as each one of us have to again go back home, back to Godhead. That's why Srila Prabhupada says that family means it should be, they should support each other in Krishna consciousness. Family means not to scratch each other's back, but to help each other to grow in Krishna consciousness. As an elder, a person can think that all this, you know, uh, younger people who are given to me in this life, I am the caretaker of them. Why? So that I can elevate them. I can take, I will give them food also. I give them nice house also. Why? So that I can create a platform so that they can get connected to Krishna. In that light of Krishna, in that light of spiritual identity, yes, then we will not be overly attached to them. And when the bad times comes, we will not also be overly distressed. The same thing happened with Anga and Vena. Beautiful example. That Anga was a very pious king, and he tried his best to train Vena. But Vena didn't turn out to be so well. Vena turned out to be completely opposite of what Anga Maharaj wanted him to be. Anga Maharaj, he just thought, okay, I did my duty. Now it's time for me to perfect my own life. I did my best. I gave Anga the best food, the best clothing, the best house, the best training, the best teacher, the best schooling, everything. And now he's having his own baggage. It's not that he's just in this life he was born. He's been continuing in this millions of life, carrying his own. He has his own account to settle, and because of the force of time, I and Vena we came together, and I did my duty to Vena of this body. But I have an eternal relationship with Supreme Lord. Yes. So just wait. Anga, he did his duty, but then without becoming devastated, he controlled those emotions and he focused himself to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's why Srila Prabhupada says that we should, you know, we should help each other in Krishna consciousness in the family. And if some family member is not supporting us in our Krishna consciousness, they are bringing unfavorable condition in our Krishna consciousness, then Srila Prabhupada says that there is no need of getting attached to such people. We should do our duty. We should be affectionate to them. We should do our dharma of this body. But then we have to fly our own aeroplane, because each one of us are on our own individual aeroplane journey to the spiritual world. Yes, we help other plane when, but then each one of us has to go on our own. So this is a very beautiful instructions by Srila Prabhupada. And that's why we find even in the life of Srila Prabhupada, that Srila Prabhupada, he had a family, he tried his best to earn as much finance as possible for his family members. He tries his best to make his wife devotee. He tries his best to make his sons devotee. But when the right time came, Srila Prabhupada, though his wife was not cooperating, Srila Prabhupada's wife sold the manuscript of Bhagavad Gita, which Srila Prabhupada had written with so much of effort, just for some some tea. But Srila Prabhupada, he took it in the positive sense. Yes, I did my duty to my wife and children. And when the time came, Srila Prabhupada just focused on the instruction of his spiritual master. In this way, so although it's very difficult, but so many beautiful examples in Bhagavatam, but what we have discussed of Avanti Brahman, of Vidurji, of Kamsa, Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad Maharaj, in a both negative way and a positive way, they show us that how we can remain in this material world, doing our duty, but at the same time keeping that focus, always being aware of our own spiritual identity and the spiritual identity of other people also. We should be aware of both. That I am also a soul, he is also a soul. We have come together like a straw, but each one of us are have our own spiritual journey also. We so with this message, I think we have already come to the time limit. I would like to stop here and just request if anybody has any feedback, anybody has any uh, question or anything to share, can share.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you very much for a wonderful explanation. I just have a small query. You said,
Yes.
even given Srila Prabhupada's time, with this challenge where his wife did not cooperate, and then finally he took a decision. So, Srila Prabhupada is an elevated devotee, so he knew where the limit was. But then, for some of us, we don't know to what level we should go, or to what extent we should push this. So, what would be generally the acceptable standards of pushing, especially the family members or pushing the relatives to, take up to Krishna consciousness?
Prabhuji, I think you are much more senior to me, and I think you know this answer much better than me. But I think just for my own purification, like I'll say whatever I have heard from my superiors. So, so Prabhuji, like each one of us has our own free will, and even Krishna doesn't intervene with her free will. Yes. So I think we can learn from Krishna that how he brings us to Krishna consciousness. Yes. So it is says that when a jiva, even if he comes to Krishna, first of all, how he comes to Krishna consciousness? He comes to Krishna consciousness because, first of all, Krishna, he indirectly gives that sukriti to a jiva. When a jiva eats some prasad, he develops some sukriti. When a jiva indirectly he gives some donation in some Iskcon temple, he develops some little sukriti. Gradually, that sukriti becomes threshold. He comes. How Krishna so indirectly facilitates. He gives facility. He doesn't just show himself that either this or that, either Krishna consciousness or hell or something like that. And then suppose a jiva comes to Krishna consciousness and he leaves also. And how Krishna also helps is very, very wonderful. He again gives that First of all, he gives that facility, opportunity. Suppose a jiva may be born again in the next life. Yes. So again, he may be going somewhere. Again, he may encounter the devotee. Krishna may plant some devotees near his locality who may be selling book. And then again, that previous life of devotional interest may again creep into. So the facilitating our relatives and family to take up Krishna consciousness should be, first of all, we should give them a lot of facility, yes, and a lot of exposure in the sense to show that yes, Krishna consciousness is the best life, by our own example, by showing them some positive experience to see that what they may like, to facilitate that as much as possible. And if and also if we have adhikar, there even in the relatives and family members, there's certain level of adhikar we have. Some family member we can, like our own son, we may even scold him, but our own cousins or maybe our own mama, chacha, we may not have that much control on them. Yes. So, so depending on that. So first of all, I think it's about giving them a lot of facility, exposure as much as possible. And it's not about that they have to become fully Krishna conscious and 16 rounds. Sometimes we may have to just manage with somebody chanting 1 round. Somebody says that, okay, at least on every Ekadasi, I will chant 4 rounds. Sometimes we go to the extent where we wanted everybody should become like me. But Krishna is such a wonderful God. Krishna builds up. Sometime a living entity has done some Krishna consciousness in this life. Then Krishna gives next facility in another life, where he can grow from where he has left. Krishna doesn't say, no, in this life you have failed, that means done. So, no, you are not chanting 16 means done. So to connecting to their level, somebody can get connected at 4 rounds. At least that connection, because it's not that we have to make them Krishna consciousness. We can make them Krishna consciousness to certain level, and maybe in their next life they will continue from that level. We may not be able to make them devotee, but we may simply be able to give that bridge in this life, little bridge, and in the next life maybe they will cross that bridge. Yes. So I think we have to be very, very selfless in dealing with our family members, because sometimes we become very attached. No, no, he's my family member. He has to become devotee. So first of all, there has to be a lot of selflessness. First of all, we should detach ourselves from identifying themselves with ourselves. We should be in the mood of that, and that's why in our voices and bases, the people who preach, they are called as facilitator. Facilitator means one who facilitates more than a preacher. Only Srila Prabhupada is a preacher. We are all facilitators. Only acharyas can preach. We are not preacher. The best word for us, at least for me, I can say, is facilitator. We simply expose them to Srila Prabhupada. We facilitate, okay, towards the festival, please come, or see that Grihastha life, how wonderful they are living. We can show them something like that. Prabhuji, you want to add something? Please add, Prabhuji. I gave very immature answer, but
Absolutely fine, Prabhu. All of us have different understandings from various speakers that we hear, various books that we read. But that was a very nice understanding. I think one point that you tried nailing and which I really got it is we have to just be facilitators. We cannot be controllers, and we shouldn't think that just because I'm giving, they should take it up. It should be in the mood saying that I'm giving, Krishna willing, he should take it or she should take it. And that's where we should live it rather than saying, no, just because I'm giving, he should take it. And just because I'm a devotee, he should also become a devotee. So that's a very nice understanding of becoming a facilitator.
maybe he may not become a devotee like me, but it's not 0 and 1. There is something known as 0.2 also, 0.3. He can become 0.3 devotee, and in the next life he may start from 0.4. But we want that no, he should become 1. I don't want to leave him at 0.2.
Yes. That's our bossing attitude, which should not be there. It should be Krishna's mercy, which should be taken, actually. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for that very nice explanation. Really appreciate that.
Yes. Hare Krishna. So I think we will end
Hare
now.
Prabhuji,
Hare
can
Krishna.
can I have a clarification?
Yes, Mataji, please.
You said in family there is a dispute and they think of themselves and there is separation of couple also.
Yes.
Right? So how should we come out of this if there is fighting, as you said, love at first sight, and later with one argument they build up that enmity?
Yes.
So how that should be overcome by the family members and also the young couples?
Yes, Mataji. That I think it's very important that like sometimes like at least I've seen in my life that means even like when I was married and suppose my own wife and suppose she speaks something, it used to hurt a lot. How can she speak like this? And how can she speak like this? And then and then it took me some time to come down, to understand that first of all I have to keep that ego away. And then I came to know one very important thing, that actually what she spoke at that moment of some dispute or something, actually she didn't carried it along a lot. Now after 2 days everything becomes fine. And then I came to a very wonderful habit. If she speaks something and if I can control for that moment little bit, that okay, she spoke, but let it go away, the next day will be very fine. Sometime in a temple we go with lot of excitement. Oh, today I'm going to temple and there'll be nice prasad. And what came is just khichdi prasad. Sometime what came is just a simple that pongal rice, which without much spices also. And we will be very, very distressed. What is this? But the next day we come to temple, my God, there is 5 items course, feast, paneer, rasgulla, everything is there. So that one day of little tolerant with that khichdi prasad, we can have next day very wonderful feast also. So so I think that what is happening, that sometimes the dispute may not be that may not be so heavy. The person who may speak also, he may not carry it maybe for the next day or the, but on that day if we react, then then that clash, I think it perpetuates a lot. So at least in my own life I have learned, Mataji, and it's not that I was perfect. I also learned by my own experience that when dispute happen, at least one person has to hold it, that okay, let me just hold little bit, just one day of little pain, but then there are many other days of happiness. But if we react in that situation, then gone. So many times the husband wife relations disputes are not that heavy. It looks heavy. Our mind and our ego show it very heavy. But if one person surrenders, then I think one person has to take that role, I think. And then
Yeah.
mostly it should be husband who should do that. I heard from somebody, he, mainly the wife, the females, they may be little sentimental. They may speak something at the just of the moment. But the husband, they should use their intelligence and they should little bit.
Yeah, Prabhuji, what you say is correct. But this accumulates in a lady or in a man, and it goes to the extreme because one person is not willing to adjust and keep on pointing out silly things also as a mistake, which lead to separation. So the person who is into this type of attitude has no realization that what he or she is doing is right and her thinking is not proper, then naturally the separation comes and the helpless person, whoever it is, she or he, then it is difficult, right?
And I think, Mataji, one of the main problem is also that currently there is an option to go away. See, earlier there was no option. Suppose sometime it happened, like suppose our own child, if he is not behaving properly, we know that I cannot exchange the child. Can I just leave the child? No, there is no option available. So I have to live with that child, and in that we do an adjustment. But currently the main problem, Mataji, which I think is that there's an option that I can leave and go. Means, see, when you have option that I can, suppose Mataji, you came to temple and you found that the prasadam is not so good, but you know that I have to be connected with Iskcon only. So I will, so just for, because the prasadam is not right, I am, but I'm getting so much of mercy, of Srila Prabhupada. You just continue, because of one little problem, you don't just leave it. But what happens? Suppose you went to a hotel and you didn't, even one item has little less salt. Immediately you have an option to change the hotel, go to next hotel, because there are options available. So what I feel, Mataji, the main problem in current world is that the society has given that option, that oh, so many girls are living, so many boys are separating. So at that moment, when the dispute happens, the person knows that I have an option, I have another path. But with the child, people adjust. The same problem happened with the child. Suppose your child is speaking very bad against you, the child is fighting against you, still parents drag. Why? They know that there is no option. He's my child, I have to continue with the same child. But now the society has given us the option. You can change the husband, you can change the wife, and there's one more option of living separate. You know, that means I will give, anyway I will get the alimony. Even if the alimony doesn't come, I can earn myself. So society has given that as soon as option is there, Mataji, what I feel, not only in marriage, in anything we have option, little disturbance will divert us. Okay, no, not this, not this. So what I feel, that main problem is that it's not that dispute is happening now only. Dispute were happening during our parents' time also. But currently the society has given that option. And that option, it's there's no commitment. When options are available, there is no commitment.
Yeah, true, Prabhuji. Thank
And
you.
it's not only in relationship, Mataji, it can happen in any place. Suppose tomorrow in 2050, that option comes that that people can leave their own child also. In some places, people can exchange child. People will go to that extent also. People will give birth to a child. They will come to know this child is not good, and then they will go to some place. I don't know how Kali Yuga will progress, but they will exchange a child. Okay, I give this bad child to you. This good child I will take with some money. Yes. Okay, so I think we have.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Ultimately, we have to face it.
Yes, ma'am.
Offering to Krishna. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। संवेद कौर भक्त